Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome back to another Calgary Stampeders game day post. Now we're up to week number 7 in the 2023 CFL Regular season, as the Calgary Stampeders are now back at home. They'll be hosting the Ottawa RedBlacks. This will be on a Sunday, July the 23rd. It'll be a 5 p.m. Mountain kickoff. I know one of the deal that the CFL had this season is that games will be broadcasted on CBS in the U.S., so that's one of the reasons why we've been having a lot more Sunday night games. But here we are with a Sunday night game. Now this matchup, I'm going to say, has gotten a lot more interesting for a couple of reasons. I mean, both teams are 2-3 coming in. However, both teams last week, they had some incredible, insane victories, starting with the Ottawa RedBlacks. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Dustin Crum is for real. I'll be looking forward to seeing how he played. He's definitely showing the Ottawa RedBlacks maybe they have some hope and a prospect in the young quarterback, and this is how he scrambles. Last week, how the Ottawa RedBlacks at home against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they pulled off an upset win in overtime, thanks to a Dustin Crum and his scrambling ability in the second half. He even gave me some Doug Flutie flashbacks when they won, I believe it was 34-28 in overtime, to be exact. While the Calgary Stampeders, they also pulled off an emotional from behind victory against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Saskatchewan. It's always a big game when Calgary and Saskatchewan play, and extra motion one was a close one, but the Calgary Stampeders won that one 33-31 on the last second field goal. 50-yarder. But the one thing the Calgary Stampeders will have to work on, the reason why that game had to get down to that, was our special teams coverage, because Calgary allowed 2 punt returns for a touchdown. Calling the Winnipeg game, Calgary allowed a missed field goal that went for over 100 yards. Just fell short. And I think the last time when Calgary played Ottawa, we allowed a kickoff for a punt return for a touchdown. So our special teams coverage needs some work. But going back to the quarterback, Jake Maier, actually last week in Saskatchewan, looked like he had his best game of the regular season. Maybe he has found his game. So we got 2 young quarterbacks in Dustin Crum and Jake Maier going at it. I'd say both teams are now 2-3, and given how the divisions have changed, I am feeling a little better about the Calgary Stampeders now that we have maybe a chance to at least get a top 3. I still think getting a home playoff day at this stage still looks a little tough between BC and Winnipeg, but things have widened up a little bit with Saskatchewan. They've been struggling now that they have Trevor Harris injured with Mason Fine. I think this is an opportunity if Calgary can at least try to get healthier. There hasn't been as much roster turnover. We're still down to our 3rd running back and have receivers injured. But how Calgary looked, at least on offense and defense, last week against Saskatchewan, if they can get their special teams put together, I actually think the Calgary Stampeders might actually look all right after all. Now, before the excuse me, get to the last part of this game, well, this is the first home game in over a month, and I got to throw this in here that after the last game, RPA announcer Dan Carson recently passed away suddenly, so might be a little extra emotional and different at McMahon Stadium today on who's going to be not announcing the PA games. Dan Carson's been doing it for over 30 years. He's been there since the start of the early 90s, so he's seen the the Doug Flutie days, all those 15-3 teams that fell short in the playoffs, the CFL US expansion, and those F-Troop days. And then, of course, recent history with the resurgence with local ownership and John Huffingel and Dave Dixon around things. So Dan Carson has been there for a long time. He's done it for over 30 years, and it's going to sound different today. Not hearing good evening football fans at McMahon Stadium. So obviously, rest in peace for Dan Carson and his family, and condolences to friends and family for his sudden passing. I'm sure there'll be some tribute to him, as this is the first home game since the passing, because he actually worked at the last home game doing his thing. So that's the last thing I got to put in, and sure I might be capturing something that they'll show at the game. Still behind with my other content, but life seems to keep happening, and did take a little holiday, but I needed that time to recharge, and now I'm just back in the groove, but sometimes it just doesn't work out yet. So to close out, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and I have all my other social media down in the description below. And so I say thanks for watching. Go Stamps, go, and I'll see you in the next video. As after this game, they wrap up July, taking on the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal. So I'll see you then.